What up, doggies? This is your boy Key Melodics. I know. I haven't been releasing content in a while, and that's my fault from the bottom of my heart. But I'm gonna be releasing a lot of shit really soon. You'll see. But today, I want to talk about ghost stories, paranormal stories. I don't know about you, but when I was young, we used to tell each other all these crazy stories that people apparently experienced. When I was young, I didn't have one of my own personal stories, but I had a lot of friends who saw a ghost, who heard these noises, all that kind of crazy stuff. But I was lucky enough, fortunately, in my early 20s to be invited by a distant cousin of mine to a seance of sorts. Basically, I got invited to an apartment in the Bronx, and there were 30 to 40 people there, and it was very festive. They had a lot of food and a lot of drinks, and people were talking to each other. Everything was really light. But then things changed dramatically, and the medium, the main person who's gonna lead the seance, she begins to start burning sage. Now this is a woman who's like in her early 60s, maybe perhaps. She starts burning sage all around the apartment. Then two other individuals start playing some sort of an instrument to set sort of the scene, and it was sort of trancey. To my right, I remember that there were three kind of like middle-aged guys who were drinking this liquid. I don't know if it was a beer. I think they were drinking beer, and then they were spit it out. They were spit it out, and then as they're doing this, they also have these twitches. They were like, they were all going like that. And there was three guys who were doing this, and they were off to the side. The main medium, she's on the floor, and she begins to do some sort of a ritual. I think she had rocks. I don't quite remember. This is quite a few years ago. Then, throughout the course of the night, I think it was 4 to 5 ghosts basically possess her. I remember that the first ghost was this sort of burly man from the 1800s, I think, who spoke with a lot of, she cursed a lot, and I remember the people who were there would ask him questions, and he would give them advice. So these ghosts actually knew these people's names, and he would ask, and how are you doing now, Maria, or whatever. Now, what's interesting is that while this is happening with the main medium, my cousin's aunt, who is not a medium, but through no desire of her own, she also gets possessed by a ghost, and usually it's the same ghost, and it's apparently a 6-year-old child. And I saw this, and this was really bizarre. I knew my cousin's aunt. I've seen her a couple of times, and I remember she wanted to play. She was a little girl. She would play little pranks on you, and she would be really playful. After the night was over, I asked my cousin about this. Her aunt has no reason to lie about this. So if it's true that her aunt is not lying about it, then what is this? It must be some sort of multiple personality disorder. It might be that everybody gets together and they all get swept away by this experience, and everybody, some people start speaking in tongues. We know that a lot of this stuff is very possible. My cousin told me that one of their prior sort of get-togethers, this main medium, she, who was like early mid-60s, would drink 3 bottles of Brugal. We're talking about the huge bottles of Brugal, and she would drink it as this burly man ghost, and she would drink it one after another. And then when the ghost would leave her and she's just her normal self, that she would not be drunk at all. We're talking about not one misstep, completely lucid, and that was one of the more interesting things that I heard about this whole thing. So, my friends, I want to put it out to you. Please hook me up with some of your stories. It doesn't matter how ridiculous it is, but I just think it's interesting that in our modern age, we obviously look down upon these kinds of stories. But let's let it out. Let's see what kind of crazy things we can dig out from the past. All right, guys, thank you very much. And I am working on my new project, so it's coming out really soon. I know all of you are just waiting. You're just looking at your phones, hitting refresh, waiting for me to send you an update, and it's coming soon. No, I know. All right? Yeah.